In this episode, we will see two of Asgard's mightiest champions fight each other to the death. Beta Ray Bill will test the newly acquired powers of Thor, and at the end, a surprising character will be unveiled. The story so far: after arguing with the battered and wounded Galactus, Thor, now named as Herald of Thunder by Galactus himself, declares that the never-ending hunger of Galactus will be only quenched when all life on a planet he desires to devour was saved. However, Thor was unable to stop Galactus from completely destroying a planet, and thus the two were about to trade blows when a familiar face arrived in the scene. Mjolnir is shown in Thor's hand, covered in purple goo-like substance. Lightning crackles around it as the story randomly reminisces on some 2 years of Thor's life. He waged war against countless armies alone, without fail and uninterrupted. He didn't eat nor sleep, only by himself with his trusty weapon and his powers of thunder, and kept on fighting. Thor continues to battle nameless hordes of soldiers, mythical creatures and monsters alike. He does that even though he himself has been stabbed and wounded several times. Sword, spear, and an arrow pokes out from the body of the God of Thunder, but those are merely hindrance to him and continue to battle endlessly. But alas, the time of his life will be forgotten in the annals of history. As the story cuts to the present time, Thor and Galactus' squabble was put on hold once Beta Ray Bill arrives, asking Thor, his brother-in-arms, to let him through so he can kill off Galactus. Unsurprisingly, despite their differences in their ideals and mindset, Thor doesn't let Beta Ray Bill through, fulfilling his role as the planet-eating god's herald. Left without a choice, the Carbonite hero swings his weapon Stormbreaker against Thor. He says that he knows Thor's honor has been corrupted by Galactus, and Beta Ray Bill seeks revenge for the destruction of his homeworld. Although Thor knows that, he still swats his ally like a fly towards a nearby celestial body, without even breaking a sweat as he did. The Asgardian Carbonite violently crashes into the moon's surface that Thor swatted him to. It was once the planet Clipse's moon, albeit an unnamed one, and it is now without a host planet after Galactus consumed Clips itself. Remains from its host planet that became debris violently crash into the moon, alongside Beta Ray Bill a moment ago. However, even before he can't get his bearings, Thor soon arrives with Galactus watching from space and tells Beta Ray Bill to stand down. Thor explains to Beta Ray Bill that he has become a herald of Galactus and gained new powers, on top of being the All-Father of Asgard. He reminds his Carbonite friend that they were once equals in terms of power before, but now he blatantly tells the Asgardian Carbonite that the past won't be repeating itself. He then tries to make Beta Ray Bill surrender, but he refuses, saying he won't do so until he frees Thor from the madness Galactus has brought upon him. Knowing that his friend and ally won't listen, Thor closes his eyes, powers up Mjolnir, and a huge blue lightning engulfs Thor, and after it was over, his costume reverted back to his original classic look. He tells Beta Ray Bill that becoming a herald for Galactus was of his own choosing. He assures his friend that he is a slave to no one. However, one giant laser blast from outer space wants to disagree with Thor. The laser blast hits Thor's back, making the God of Thunder anguish a bit in surprise. Galactus blasts Thor from behind, while scolding him as a show of force. The planet-eating cosmic god mentioned that he gave Thor his herald powers, and thinks that the All-Father of Asgard is now under his thumb. But Thor immediately contradicts him, saying that he took his power for himself, while using Mjolnir to block Galactus' attack. He then declared to Galactus that nothing was taken from him. While Beta Ray Bill listed to them on the side, Thor reminded Galactus that he agreed to help the towering cosmic god and will honor his word. But that triggers Beta Ray Bill to snap back. And upon hearing Thor's words of helping Galactus, Beta Ray Bill snaps and swings Stormbreaker to the All-Father's face. In his anger, he called Thor a traitor for his decision to willingly help Galactus consume his homeworld, calling the always hungry deity a monster. He then demands Thor to look him in the eyes and answer him as to why he can still lift Mjolnir, despite what he has done. Bleeding from his strike wound, Thor gets up and agrees to show Beta Ray Bill how he can still use his trusty weapon, smacking the Asgardian Carbonite with a powerful swing from his hammer. Thor sends Beta Ray Bill crashing to a wall nearby. He then comments on how Beta Ray Bill has forsaken his Asgardian armor, indicating he is ready for a fight. Thor then taunts his friend not to be surprised if he is looking for a fight, and he will find one. Beta Ray Bill then reasons with Thor, saying he wouldn't dishonor Odin by engaging in a battle with Thor while wearing the said Asgardian armor. Hearing his father's name, the God of Thunder lunges at the Asgardian Carbonite with his hammer in tow while saying that Asgard is now his. He swings an attack, but Beta Ray Bill easily evades it, grabs Thor by the back of his head, and smacks him onto the ground violently. implying that Thor forgot what Asgard stands for. After getting smacked, Thor retorts, saying it wasn't easy for him to do what he did. He stood up with a bloodied nose and mouth from that impact. After getting back, Thor lunges again at Beta Ray Bill, grabbing him forcefully that results in them falling down a cliff. He said that the Black Winter, the cosmic plague that is destroying worlds and people alike, is coming and has been in the universe even before them. With a violent crash on the ground, Thor steps on Beta Ray Bill and smashes his face with Mjolnir, followed by his left fist. Lastly, he lifts Mjolnir again, ready to strike down Beta Ray Bill while saying that he won't be judged by him. But before Thor can strike him again, Beta Ray Bill lands a powerful kick on Thor's chest, berating him for allowing the destruction of a planet and thousands of unnecessary deaths under his crown. He then follows up with a powerful blow from his Stormbreaker, saying that Thor shouldn't be doing that stuff as an arrogant fool and instead that should act like a king now. The Asgardian Carbonite reminded the Allfather that he has an army now that he could send in his place. He could have even sent the whole of Asgard under his command. And lastly, Beta Ray Bill told Thor that he could have asked him to be sent instead, after sending the latter flying from a powerful swing from his Stormbreaker and making him fall on the ground. But Thor resentfully retorts back that he did all of those since he is the king after standing back up. Thor then throws Mjolnir straight at Beta Ray Bill after declaring that he is still Thor, the god of thunder. The Carbonite catches the hurling Mjolnir right before hitting him square in the face, not letting it go back to the Allfather. Thor demands Beta Ray Bill to let Mjolnir go, and he will take his arm if he must from him. However, he reminds his friend that nothing can stop the mystical hammer from going back to his hand once called back. Despite knowing that and struggling, Beta Ray Bill holds on to Mjolnir with all his might, stopping it from going back to Thor. However, Beta Ray Bill doesn't let go of Mjolnir, even though the hammer pulls him in closer and closer to Thor. The Allfather asks his Carbonite friend to let go of his hammer, but the latter refuses and continues to hold on, saying that Thor isn't worthy of having Mjolnir at this time. Thor falls silent and after a while, decides to do something else by raising his hand and calling for a different weapon. This time, Stormbreaker instead. To his horror, Beta Ray Bill shouts back to his weapon now floating back to Thor. Once firmly in his hand, Thor raises up Stormbreaker in the air, aiming it at Mjolnir, and strikes Mjolnir at full force, with resulting in a powerful explosion-like reaction that shatters Stormbreaker into a number of pieces right before the eyes of Beta Ray Bill. This shows the saying of when an unbreakable shield meets an unstoppable force, also known as irresistible force paradox. Losing strength just after what happened, Beta Ray Bill lies on the ground, defeated. He finally lets go of Mjolnir, wherein Thor mocks him for not heeding his warning. Mjolnir flies back to Thor's hand, while Thor lets go of what remains of Stormbreaker, asking the Carbonite if he believes him now. Thor then asks him again if he will relent or yield, calling him brother. But Beta Ray Bill retorts back at Thor while getting up, saying that he is not his brother. Hurt by what he said, Thor cursed at Bill, raised Mjolnir, charged it up, and was about to deal a blow when suddenly a huge beam of multicolors landed between the two warriors, temporarily blinding them. It was the Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost, and throughout the confusion, Thor asked who dared to interfere between the two of them. However, before even Thor could finish his words, a voice speaks from the blinding light of the cosmic bridge, saying that she had watched more than enough. Then a figure of a female warrior forms over the end of the Bifrost, saying to Thor that she is truly sorry if he wants to continue his insanity with Galactus. With a weapon in hand, donning red and white armor, Lady Sif strikes a defensive pose with her sword against Thor, in front of the defeated Beta Ray Bill. She readies herself in battling with the Allfather of Asgard, saying that truth is the only way for them to convince Thor, which will continue in the next chapter of the story. So that's a wrap on this episode. Stay tuned tomorrow as I will be uploading episode number 4.